What's up, everybody? This is Karak with ACG, and you might know me from my award-winning coffee blend, All the Caffeine. Whether you have finals, a test for school, or just want to blindly hit the B button so you can get through a Telltales game without falling asleep, nothing gets your motor racing and your heart pacing like All the Caffeine. Available everywhere defibrillators are sold. But you know what? I also do reviews that might be demonetized, but they aren't 2 minutes long or filled with sponsored bullcrap. And today we're taking a look at Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 3. Listen, when you think about it, there are only a couple things that come every 2 months. Sony getting hacked, Navy wives, and new episodes of Telltale game series. Last month, we had the excellence of Batman the Enemy Within. Earlier this month was the No Choice Choose Your Own Adventure episode for Minecraft Story Mode. And now, 2 months after its last episode, we get Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 3, and its title is More Than a Feelin'. So once again, we get to jump into the rarely working gravity boots of Peter Quill and the team as they banter, barter, and brawl their way to the unconventional success in Telltale's episodic point-and-click adventure title. As always, if you like the video, maybe subscribe. So here's my review for Telltale Guardians of the Galaxy Episode 3. Facts of Life, the Galactic Edition, there is no talk, only punch, and the awesomeness of starched collars. And of course, graphics are up first. Now, as you guys know, this is episodic in content, so I won't be covering these in as much detail unless something big has changed, and not much has here, so I'm not going to waste your time. The game does look a particular way compared to the charcoal and ash of the older Telltale games, and I think its clean look, other than Drax still looking like he belongs in Disney Infinity, actually works here, and you have a few unique locations explored before your short time with the game is over. Sadly, you don't really have anything close to the larger open spaces of the previous episodes, nor the walking around the ship or a space bar that we've had before. Even the use of the various tactics from the first episode, sort of shaved down to the second, are almost negligible here, with a quick moment where you can jet boot up to a higher level. Now that being said, there is one great part when Peter has to go and do some little mini conflicts and solve them so that a character can concentrate and you can move forward in the journey. And there's little bits of emotion and subtle defined features, especially when he shushes Drax or grabs Raccoon by the muzzle. Now those are excellently done and the highlights, and they sort of remind you about what is actually possible when you have emotion on these characters, but there isn't really a lot here. Also, I liked little things like the momentary tag team battles against major bad guys, where you have Gamora and her sister, the emotional blister known as Nebula, smacking the crap out of enemies martial arts style. But again, it's here and then gone again before you know it. Strangely enough, this actually seemed to run fine on all the systems, even the old ancient one, without almost any stutters at all, which at times has not been the case for Telltale games. While we want the ancient digital mummy sarcophagus known as Telltale Engine to finally be stuffed and put on someone's mantle, I find it nice that you can actually get a relatively smooth experience now with some of these titles. Overall, I'd say not much is here that's changed, but if you like the look, you're going to continue to. Sound, music, and voice.
Let's finish our drinks and go use this thing.
Yes!
Really? Who are you planning to kill?
Well, you're kind of annoying me right now.
Paula wants to use this forge to raise her army.
Told me I was afraid. I do not like to feel afraid. Such feelings bring me great shame. But talking to you, a frequently scared person, has helped.
And you know what? Let's do music. Now, the main licensed track that they play in the game as you're watching a montage of various moments inside the ship before a major decision is great, but we all knew that, and it's sort of stacking the deck in the game's favor on that particular track. The others are a bit more hit and miss because while you're further exploring the cavernous recesses of an ancient chamber, the woodwind sample-led track there is actually outstanding. Less so are occasional moments when the team is sort of standing around and there's this odd, almost childlike ditty that plays, and it just doesn't work well at that time. What's great here is with this many pissed off people in one ship, usually some fight music or other track is loaded up, even if the current one sounds like something you might lure kids into strangers' homes with. Voice. So this episode sort of lets Mantis do her thing and offers a bit of subtlety with Gamora and Nebula as well, and that subtlety is rewarded by reflection later in the game, and I felt that everybody's emotions, at least in most of those parts, were fine. But the overall feeling that I personally came away with is that this is at its best when it sticks to the main players. Drax and Rocket have far less overall voice time than they deserve, and that might be because each of those episodes prior is going to somehow force a background flashback on us, and that's fine, so we get that here. I just wish they fleshed out moments outside of that with the stronger voiced cast, because from the prior episodes, we now know that Rocket's voice actor can pretty much nail it, and Drax's dry wit really seems to be on point despite the fact that Batista isn't doing it. So I'd say, overall, it's actually pretty good, but there's a couple little rough spots here and there. Sound. So sound continues to be a little bit hit and miss. I really like the homey and more closed-in environment used in one of Peter's flashback. I liked that sound. There was a tonal resonance there that worked perfect. And the larger tomb area you explore in the end is also done well, giving you this good contrast to the earlier closeness that you just experienced. But just when you think something good is going to come along, you notice something like Nebula's sword sound like someone getting smashed over the head with a damn wicker basket, and it can really kill the enjoyment. And I'm not saying I've recorded myself slicing someone in the guts with a sword, but if I did and it was on my hidden FTP server, they wouldn't sound like this. Overall, I'd say you get what the past episodes have really delivered us, which is somewhat solid, but there's a couple little issues here and there. Gameplay. So episode 3 continues the group's misadventures with cosmic forces about 10,000 times more powerful than they can ever handle, but also apparently created by a video game fan from the 1990s. I mean, if the ancient artifact that's all powerful, you turn it left to use it or turn it right to destroy it. No safety, no failsafes. If there's anything you don't want to trust to a group that without Rocket has an IQ approximately the total number of their members, it's that. Now, these episodes continue a series of flashbacks to tell more of the group's tales, like Rocket in a prior episode, as well as sort of explain the goings-on of the characters on the ship, and I did like those elements. We also have another stunningly short adventure, however, tracking in at less than an hour and 10 minutes, and I think we're seeing a pattern here, where some of the Telltale games expand on the inner workings and light gameplay mechanics to sort of flesh out or even extend their gameplay, or at the very least make them feel more complex in shorter runs. Guardians seems to have completely lost that ability to do it, usurping user control to a few basic button presses, and then boom, the game's over. Choice is mitigated to the point of being almost unnoticeable, and you have a title that once again feels like these games actually get consistently hammered on for, and that's a straightforward playthrough with little to no variation, and certainly not the far more intriguing and interconnected experiences that we're getting with, say, Batman Enemy Within. It's really puzzling to me. If you look at these characters and really glean from them where they are and what their lot in life is, you have an almost limitless palette to paint crazy choices and narrative with, but it never happens, leaving you reading a comic book where turning the page is actually just replaced with a giant green A. Fun factor. Not really. So this is once again stunningly short of both overall playtime and just actual decision making, falling far closer to the Minecraft series last episodes, with both titles slowly eroding into a game of friggin' Minesweeper. They can be fun, they can be interesting, and they can also make the player feel like there's agency that's going to be rewarded. This one doesn't. To me, what's weird is Peter and Party can actually be fun, but their mechanics like the jump boots, the time warp device, and various others never actually really get used that much. I mean, hell, even Minecraft has you somewhat building a different area once or twice in each game episodes. This really has nothing. So as you guys know, I rate games that are episodic in a buy right now or wait until maybe a later episode or till it finally gets good kind of rating scale. This is definitely a wait. It is far too short. There's far too little actually occurring in it. And because we're seeing such excellence elsewhere, it is all the more noticeable. So as always, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you disliked it, give it a thumbs down. Maybe check out Twitter or Patreon. That's where I can continue to give you guys reviews that aren't 2 minutes long, filled with sponsored bullcrap, and probably going to be demonetized by YouTube. As always, peace out and enjoy the rest of your week.